Invite a Budget Blinds style consultant to show you how to transform your rooms just by changing your window coverings. Canada's #1 choice for window coverings. Visit budgetblinds.ca today.
This is Newcap News with Annika Notveit.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. The extreme wildfire situation in the Cold Lake area has turned deadly after a plane crash claims the life of a 38-year-old pilot. These are some of the scenes fire crews have been dealing with. More than 24 blazes have sparked because of dry conditions and heavy winds. RCMP received the call at 5:30 yesterday of a plane crash on the Cold Lake Air Weapons Range. The pilot was the only person on board a water bomber and was under contract to Alberta Environment and Sustainable Development at the time. The scene has been secured, but police say local conditions are making access to the crash site difficult.
The situation on the ground there remains rather dynamic with the aspect of the firefighting operations are still continuing, and those are factors in making access to the site at the time.
The Transportation Safety Board is conducting an investigation of the cause of the crash. The name of the pilot is not being released at this time. And because of this same fire, all Cenovus staff, about 1,800 workers at the Foster Creek operation, have been evacuated as the blaze is just 30 kilometers south. The operation has been shut down and staff were airlifted out as a precaution. The only access road to the work site closed early this afternoon.
We have made the decision voluntarily to send all of our staff home as a precaution. We've had no indication that the fire is headed in our direction. It's actually right now headed in to the south, and we're to the north of where the forest fire is.
And Foster Creek operation produces oil at the oil sands on the Cold Lake Air Weapons Range. Okay, Bart is joining us on the desk now to talk a little bit about the current fire risk in our area. That was the first major evacuation to date that we've seen, but the situation remains very serious as many fires are not under control. So you have some maps to show us of the area and the current situation.
And it's not looking very pretty at all, especially in Alberta, like you see right here. This is courtesy of albertafirebans.ca, and as you can see, our entire area. We have to really be careful with those fires. We have bans in the Vermilion, County of Vermilion River area, County of Minburn, ND of Bonnyville. Fire restrictions as well in the lighter red actually there. MD of Wainwright, Two Hills, even all the way from the County of St. Paul, all the way to Smoky Lake as well. So you can see fire advisories almost everywhere else, and like we told you about earlier in the Cold Lake area, definitely a lot to deal with. Moving on to Saskatchewan, as you see on our national map here, which is coming up right here, it doesn't look much nicer. Unfortunately, most of that deep red, that is a major fire hazard at the moment. Bans in all provincial forest, parks, and recreation areas, and of course, that means no burning within 4.5 kilometers of any parks. Fireworks also prohibited. No, unfortunately though, no significant rainfall the province has seen since that snow has melted, and it looks like on our 5-day forecast or on our future forecast, doesn't look very pretty at all. Moisture is badly needed, and we'll have to see kind of how that goes. I'll tell you all about that later in the show.
To news in the border city now, some good news for those giving live-in care to the elderly in the area. With the opening of the new continuing care facility, there's also a day program for people living outside the building.
Is for people that are living in the community and they may have some chronic illness, and they have a care provider, usually a spouse, that's providing a lot of the care along with home care. So the day program provides some respite to the caregiver so that they can come 1 or 2 days a week.
Zimmer adds it also allows the person coming a chance to socialize and take part in the therapy programs to improve their functioning. And these programs will begin when the building opens in the second week of June. It was a chance to support a good cause and get a little messy at the same time, as Bud Miller was the host to the second annual Color Within Walk and Run today, raising money for the B. Fisher Foundation. Clouds of colorful dust filled the air at Bud Miller Park this morning as 200 participants took part in this year's event. The fundraising 5K walk and barbecue brought out families from around the city, helping the B. Fisher Foundation, a major supporter of people with developmental disabilities.
I think it is important because they're great people. They're amazing.
The foundation's goal is to not only raise public awareness when it comes to those living with developmental disabilities, but also give them independence in the form of jobs at the B. Fisher Centre.
It's very important because people with disabilities need help, and anytime the community can come out like today to help out and help with fundraising, it certainly helps the centre.
Organizers say they aim to raise $13,000 this year.